how often should a drummer change the drum heads, and when do they know it's the right time to change? And could you just give us a little advice in that regard?
I do about 30 clinics a year, and it's amazing to me how many people just don't change their heads. And it's sadly a lot of people neglect changing their heads as often as they should. And at the first sign of wear on a drum head, you should really change it out. Physically, you're going to look at the drum head and see maybe if you're playing a coated head, you'll see that the coating has gone away. You'll see that even on a clear head, you'll see stick marks, indentations. When you take the head off and it looks like a soup ball, it's definitely way past its time that you should have changed it. But way before then, you start noticing subtle changes in tone. You won't get the same tuning capabilities that you had when you got the new head. You won't have the same tone, the same quality of sound that you would with a brand new drum head. As far as the timeline, it really does depend on how hard you play. For harder players, they're probably going to need to change them out more often. I would say for someone who's playing rock or metal, probably once a month you need to examine your drum heads to make sure that they're still in good shape. If they're ready to change, it's a small price to pay for great tone.
So, Josh, speaking of changing drum heads, when one does notice that a drum head or drum heads need to be changed, should they just replace the one that's in need, or should they examine the whole set?
Well, there's a reason the drum head needs to be changed out on both sides. Your bottom head, or your resonant side head, is where all of your tone is coming from. We did a tuning video on snares and toms, and one of the things that we did talk about was the bottom head needs to be tuned a little bit tighter so that the vibrations are going to bounce off the top head and come back up to the top head that actually is going to be a little looser and grab the sound and cause that really nice studio decay. Your bottom heads being tighter are going to have more tension on them, of course, and they're going to lose their elasticity. The bottom head really does take just as much abuse as the top head does, even though you never touch it. And sadly, I've talked to people who have had a drum kit for 7 years that have never changed that bottom head, and they say, my drums sound horrible. Well, with all your tone gone, your drums are going to sound horrible. And really changing out your top and bottom heads, I would say every third time you change your top tom head, you need to change out your resonant head. On a snare drum, every other time, because not only do you have the added tension to get the nice, sweet studio sound everybody's looking for, but you've got between 14 and 42 pieces of metal that are vibrating on that bottom head that are going to wear the head out faster.
Okay. And how about size to size? If I'm changing my 12-inch tom, should I also change my 14 and the rest of them within my configuration?
I would, just to get a good quality sound all the way across the kit. It's kind of like when you buy new tires. You don't want to buy just one tire. Be like driving down the road or running down the road with one shoe on. You really do want everything to be evenly spaced, as far as pitch, but definitely evenly spaced as far as the quality of the sound.